My name is Noah Newstater. I am 15 and almost done grade 9. I go to Valley View Secondary, and just like any other high school kid, I'm awkward. But hopefully that'll just get better as the presentation goes on. Today I'm going to talk to you about what I've done this year in Connections 9, their Capstone Project. You might be wondering, what does Capstone mean? Essentially, it means to understand something that you have worked on for a period of time, and to be able to explain it. In my capstone, I will explain what I have learned about myself, who I am out of school, and who I can or might be in the future. I think that the idea of learning how you are different out of school is pretty cool. It's like having two different identities. Just a few fun facts about me. If you don't know me well, I've had 3 major surgeries, oh my gosh, over 300 stitches, and my heart leaks. Now,
That's sick.
Now you might be thinking, how the hell can someone's heart leak? Is he just super saddened and has to let something go? No, actually I had heart surgery when I was very little, and part of the things that causes when it leaks, the blood goes down into my body and is absorbed. Another fact about me is I used to play soccer, but then I started playing with Juniper and I quit. We only won 1 game out of 40. So that just sucked. But at least after that, I found a new sport, which is basketball, and I'll talk about that more later in my presentation. Something that everyone has to know when they meet me. Sometimes I get really into it and all psyched up about it, but I've had a bunch of candy. But that's okay, because I'm just a super enthusiastic person when I present. Moving on, I am going to the first part of my presentation, which is who I am outside of school. Outside of school, right after school, I get home and have a snack. And a normal snack to a person is like an apple or something, but I don't pack a lunch. So at breakfast, I'm just packing in food so I don't feel hungry through the day. But when I get home, it's like all over from my fridge. I'm eating apples, crackers, and cereal, you name it. But my favorite thing to eat is Mr. Noodle. Just a little fact about me, I love Mr. Noodle. It's probably one of the least healthiest things, but it is so good. And I eat it lots of the time when I get home. Normally, after my snack on weekdays, I either go and play some video games, which is normally NBA 2K19, or I go outside and hang out with my cousin and play some basketball. Basketball is my favorite sport and one of my favorite things to do outside of school. I like to play the sport on my basketball team, pro-up, or within the school. I also like to watch the sport. My favorite NBA team is the Toronto Raptors, and they play almost every second day. I like basketball because it involves physical activity and a way to improve on something you like. Some things that I like to do in the summer is go camping, and normally with my family. And I go for a couple of weeks, which is always a blast. When I'm all alone just at home doing one thing in my room, I'll probably just be doing something on my phone, like playing a game on it or just watching Netflix. But that doesn't happen that often because I'm pretty much all the time busy. During the summer, I also help teach a basketball camp at my church in downtown Kamloops. I teach it to kids from grades 1 to 5. It's always a good experience to share your knowledge to the younger kids, and it's a really great time overall. Especially when you realize when they're older, they continue to play the sport. I have also helped coach my younger brother's basketball team, and they went on to only losing 1 game, which was a great experience for him and his teammates last year of elementary basketball. This year, for the first time, I went to Mexico, and it was an amazing experience. Going there, I realized that I love the ocean. It's fascinating. The fish and all the ocean, especially swimming in it and going up and down the waves, was just a great experience. After that trip, I also realized I would definitely like to spend some portion of my time traveling, because I want to see all the places I can, because the world is just such a cool place with so many new places. And if I can, when I retire, I would love to just see like all of that too. But that leads into school stuff and my education and what job I would want in the future. Right here is pretty much a bit of a clip of what I do sometimes outside of school. Also, if you're wondering, by the way, that was not me. That was just one of my friends. Inside of school before grade 9. Let's start from the start. Kindergarten. I used to live in Salmon Arm, so that's where I started kindergarten. You know, in kindergarten when there's Hundreds Day? Well, I love that. That day, everyone brought in stuff, and well, hundreds of it. So I thought that it was pretty cool. And I brought 100 pennies one time.
But within the first 15 minutes of school, I lost some of those pennies. And I snapped, like I needed to find them. Since pretty much the start of school, I have always tried really hard to meet my teachers' expectations, which I feel like most people do. I still am. You'll see that throughout my education as I explain it. Anyways, back to the pennies. I had lost 6 or so and I had to find them. You could see me on the floor running around. After a few minutes I had found all of them except for one. And Hundreds Day was starting in like 1 minute. So I just decided I'm gonna cry. So that's what I just started freaking out and crying. Just because of one missing penny. And I wanted to be the perfect person for whoever is teaching me or watching. Which is also another struggle I have in school. A few years later, my family and I moved to Kamloops, and I started at Dallas Elementary. For me, I have never had any trouble getting along with others because I'm generally a pretty social person. And when we moved, I figured out that being the class clown is just the easiest way to do that and to get along with other people. So that's what I did. I would do practically anything to be goofy and try to impress others. Which, as you know, as a kid who is a class clown and a people pleaser, always goes well in school. But honestly, there were advantages to being a class clown and liking to do things right for your teacher because it means you can get along with others and the other kids easier and you can get your work done. But also that obsessive thing to be done my work right and exceed the expectation was probably very annoying for my teachers because they're just this, then there's just this annoying kid who is in their face. Did I do this right? Did I do this right? My next story is grade 5. Our class had been working on this project for a while. I had done nothing and I was off distracting others and seriously procrastinating about, I'll do it later or I'll do it at home, which I'm sure everybody has done a few times in their life. And I ended up just bombing the project and I hated that, but really it was my fault. And another time this thing comes in and I need to get at least an A or a B in school. And I just start begging my teacher to let me redo it. And she says no, and I'm thinking, this is so unfair. But the whole time I just spent procrastinating, and I would say that probably my biggest struggle in school is that. And it will continue to be. Now I'm going to start talking less about my problems and about some of my advantages in school. One of my greatest advantages is public speaking, and I don't mean to be cocky, but I'm great at speeches, like 20 out of 20 every time. In grade 6, my teacher asked me to go and talk at this thing called the Rotary Speeches, and I crushed it. But before that, I was just becoming an awkward teenager, right? And as I'm about to go and say my first speech to get into the rodeo speeches, I find out the whole freaking school is there. And I can tell you that is a 12-year-old scariest thing. And I was already going up against grade 7s who already had one more year of experience. And honestly, I had no idea what was going to happen. But I went out there and presented my 3-minute speech and killed it. I got second place out of 10 kids and got 92 out of 100. And that was probably because I was so nervous. I probably would have got 100 out of 100. After that, I kept on excelling as a public speaker, which has been a great thing for school and maybe a future career. My second skill is writing. I may not be a very neat writer, but at all, but on a computer, I can just write very well. And I think it might be due to my mom being a writer, but I've always done good in English because of writing and the public speaking, and hopefully that will be a good. Okay, as you will see here, here's a little video of just one of my friends enjoying math class, and as you see, I will be talking about it more in my speech. Okay, so grade 9 in school. So this year I started off with math, which is because I haven't mentioned it yet. I hate it, as do many people. Not all, but many. Next I had English, which obviously I did well in. And then I had gym and drama. So let's start off with math. This class I'm just bad at. I got a C+ even when I tried my hardest. Didn't procrastinate at all. Didn't goof around. Still got a C+. So that just sucked. But I guess you're just good at it or not good at math. Next I had gym, which also sucks. I love gym, not gonna lie. But I also broke my ankle at the start of the year in October, and I had a cast on the whole time, which pretty much explains how well I did in gym class. After that, I had English and got a solid A, which was great, having 2 crappy other classes than this, where the semester gets really interesting. I only did drama because my cousin, who is also one of my best friends, and we haven't had any classes together since grade 7, so I chose drama. And guess what? I didn't even get in the same class as him. And I bet you're thinking, why didn't you just switch out of the same class as him? Well, my stupid procrastinating thing came in again, and I just kept on saying I'll do it later, which I didn't. So I'm stuck in this class where I know no one, and it's just like when I moved to Kamloops. I'm the class clown again, and I'm not doing any work, and it's just not good. But apparently I'm also good at the class, so I guess I just walked out with an A. But I can tell you I'm never going to choose that class to be in again. Next semester I have science. I'm good at science and I like science. And then I also have socials and connections. I don't really know my end grade yet. And then I also have French, which sort of sucks because I'm really bad at another language. But that's pretty much to sum up my grade 9 year. I don't really have my grades back yet, so I can't really sum it up. Here's just a little video clip of my socials class. I'm going to proceed into Connections 9, February 1st. This was day 1 of Connections 9. I had Connections before, but this year it was different. Everything that we did was leading in some way to my future. Day 1, Mr. P got right to it. We started to reflect on what we did in semester 1 and how we can improve from that or keep on using the methods that we worked on, which I think was a great use of time and has helped me progress in this class. And you will also see these in the photo. Moving on a week or two, assignment 6, what's in a name? I love this project that Mr. P gave to me. It shows me some of my heritage, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's true, but it shows some origins of my name, which is Noah, and is a Hebrew name, and it means rest. But when you think of rest, you think it means sleep, and that's exactly what I thought of it when I first heard it. But then I thought about that, and I just thought it was lame. But when I went back to look on it, maybe there's more to it, and it doesn't mean exactly mean sleep, but it means to be finished or of something, and to feel like you've completed it properly without having to look back. My last name is Neustaedter, and that is German. There really is no background on the name, but I still like this project for what it has shown me about my first name. After these 3 things that helped me the most, I moved on to finding out who I could or might be. Now, if I'm being completely honest with you, what does that mean? Who could I be seems like a more normal question and helps me out, but might be, and what's the point in making a plan if it might work? But that's a question I was left with, so here's what I have for who I could be. I could possibly be a cook, a news story writer, a teacher, and an engineer, which is my least favorite, the engineer one. Now, I think that it is pretty early to choose a possible career choice. I don't know enough about myself to choose what I want to, and I don't know all of the things that I struggle with and all the things that I'm great at yet. And this has nothing to do with anyone else like my teacher or the Connections curriculum, but I don't think that giving me 4 months of time for Connections and only using parts of it to decide what I want to do for the rest of my life. But I did do one thing that has helped me, and I chose what college I might want to go to, which could possibly be TRU or UBC. I think both colleges are great choices, and probably TRU is my number 1 choice just because of the accessibility and expenses. After going through Connections 9, I've chosen my possible college, which is great, and I think that I might end up wanting to be a teacher. I'm good with kids, like at the basketball camp I taught. I also like the no working summer, heck yeah. And I also like that as a teacher, you can choose where you would like to teach and your subjects if you are a high school teacher or an elementary teacher. To conclude, this class has shown me many things: who I am in school, out of school, and who I could or might be in the future. But to finish it all off, I loved this whole class and what I've done in it, and I have really grown as a student and a person.